Hi, it's me Bigan Rodari, and today I'm visiting a place of nature and reflect them on my own personal experience of the learning and how they are connected to the unit reading and the resources. So I will also consider how my engagement with the place can be the pedagogical contagion and how more than the human elements of the place can have the agency. So let me get started with the engagement with place. As I visit a place of nature which draws me in the sense of peace and tranquility that comes from being surrounded by the natural elements, I'm interested in observing the different plants and the animal that inhabit the place and the way they interact with each other. I feel connected to the place as I'm also a part of the same ecosystem and share the common bond with the more than the human elements. The more than the human elements of the place has the agency as they interact with each other and influence the environment in which they exist. For example, the rock and the land has been shaped over by the times by the force of the nature such as the erosion and the weathering. The plants and animals have adapted their surrounding and have evolved the unique characteristics to help them survive. The creeks and the water bodies have their own life cycle and are influenced by the external factors such as the rainfall and the temperature. As I engaged with the place, I became entangled with the more than the human elements. The sound of the birds and the insects, the feel of the breeze on my skin, and the sight of the trees and the plants all affect me in the different ways. I feel a sense of calm and contentedness with the environment, which helps me appreciate the complexity and beauty of nature. As outlined in the work of the Green Wall, the nature-based learning can contribute to the development of ecological literacy and to a sense of responsibility and stewardship towards the natural world. Nature has a profound impact on our learning and development, both as individual and as a society. Research has shown that exposure to the nature can have a range of positive effects to our cognitive, emotional, and social well-beings. According to the work of Flair, a nature-based learning experience can provide children with the opportunities for play, exploration, and the discovery. Um, One of the most well documented benefits of the nature in learning is its impact on cognitive functioning. Studies have shown that the exposure to nature environment can improve attention and memory as well as promote creative thinking and problem solving skills. Nature can also reduce stress and anxiety, which can enhance our ability to learn and retain the information. In addition to its cognitive benefits, nature can also play an important role in our emotion and social development. Exposure to nature has been linked to reduced level of depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. It can also promote positive social interaction and feeling of contentedness, which are essential for our well-being and sense of belongings. Nature-based learning can also help us to develop a range of ecological literacy and responsibility towards the environment. The interacting with the nature world and the learning about its complexity and interconnection, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the more than the human elements of the environment and also the role that human plays in shaping it. Finally, we can say that the nature-based learning can also promote a sense of agency and empowerment, particularly for the children. So by engaging in play-based learning activities in natural environments, children can develop a sense of ownership and control over their learning, which can enhance their motivation and engagement. Overall, nature is very powerful and also it's very important context for learning, and its benefits are well supported by the research as well. By recognizing the link between the nature and the learning, we can develop more holistic and integrated approach to education that promote our cognitive, emotional, and social well-being as well as our sense of ecological responsibility as well. Let me get started with the now pedagogical contact zone, as my engagement with this place can be seen as a pedagogical contact zone as well, as it involves the interaction between my personal experience of learning, how I learn, and the more than human elements of the place. According to the Stregner's, a pedagogical contact zone is a space where learning can occur through the interaction between the different elements. In the context of the nature, the more than the human elements can act as a teacher and the learner, and in this case me can engage with them to learn about the environment and its complexity. Through my engagement with the place, I'm thinking about the interconnection of the different elements and the role they play with shaping the environment. I'm also learning about the importance of sustainability and how human action can impact the more than the human elements of the place. For example, littering or polluting the environment can harm the plants and animals and disrupt the balance of the ecosystem. The concept of the pedagogical contact zone, which was given by the Somerville, highlights the importance of creating a learning experience that promote the connections and the dialogue between the children and the environment. The concept of the pedagogical contact zone is a useful framework for understanding how learning occurs through the interaction between the different elements in a given space, including the human and the more than the human elements of the environment. In a pedagogical contact zone, learning is not just for the results of the individual cognition or the introduction, but rather emerges from the interaction between different entities and their surrounding environment. When we engage with the nature world, we are interacting with the range of more than human elements such as the rocks, trees, plants, and the animal. These elements have their own agency and affect us in the different ways, shaping our thought, feeling, and the behavior. Like, for example, the sight of the majestic mountain peak or the sound of the flowing water can evoke a sense of wonder and awe, while the smell of fresh water, fresh flowers can trigger the memories and the emotion. Moreover, these elements are interconnected and affect each other in a complex way. For instance, the growth of the plants depends on the availability of the water and the nutrition in the soil, as well as in the presence of the pollinator and other animals can help to spread their seeds. Similarly, the shape and the composition of the rocks and soil are shaped by the force of wind, water, and the erosion over the time. In a pedagogical contact zone, we can develop and we can learn about these complex interconnection and gain a deeper appreciation for more than the human elements of the environment. By interacting with the natural world and observing its pattern and process, we can develop sense of ecological literacy and responsibility towards the environment. In this way, the concept of the pedagogical contact zone is closely connected with the nature and more than the human elements of the environment. So, by recognizing the agency of these elements and their interconnection, we can develop more holistic and integrated approach of learning and education. So, let me get started now with the reflection on the math and science learning. My personal experience of learning the mathematics and the science have been shaped over by the engagement with the natural world. As a child, I remember being fascinated by the way the moons and the stars appear in the sky at the night. I would often spend hours gazing the sky and trying to understand the pattern and movement of the celestial bodies. This early interest in astronomy led me to the study physics and astronomy at university and also develop a deeper understanding of the universe. Similarly, my interest in the biology was sparked by my engagement with the natural world. As a child, I enjoy observing the plants and animals around me and learning about their characteristics and the behavior. This interest in biology led me to study the subject at the school and also at the university and develop a deeper understanding of the complex interaction between the living organism and their environment. The language of math and science have helped me to understand and appreciate the natural world in different ways. So the mathematics all has allowed me to describe and quantify the pattern and relationship that exist in the environment, while science have helped me to understand the underlying mechanism and process that drives me through the pattern. Together, these languages can give me a holistic view of the interconnection of the nature world and the role of the human in shaping it. So, maths and science are inherently connected to the natural world, and the subject of study of this subject can help us in the better understanding and appreciate the complexity and the interconnection of the environment. So, in math, for example, the concepts such as the geometry and the measurement are used to describe and understand the natural phenomenon such as the shape and size of the object, and in the environment, the movement of the planet and the stars, and the pattern of waves and tides in the ocean. Math can be used to model and predict environmental processes such as the spread of diseases, the impact of the climate change, and the dynamic of the ecosystem. In science, the study of the natural world is central to our understanding of the physical, chemical, and the biological process that shapes the environment. Scientific concept such as energy matters and the foresight used to describe and explain the natural phenomena such as weather pattern, ocean currents, and the behavior of the living organisms. Scientific research can also be used to identify and solve environmental problems such as the pollution, deforestation, and the climate change. So nature can also provide rich opportunity for hands-on experimental learning in math and science. For instance, students can use natural materials such as the rocks, leaves, and the cells to explore the concepts such as the shape, pattern, and the symmetry. They can also conduct the experiments in natural environments such as measuring the pH value of the water stream or observing the behavior of the animal in their natural habitat. So finally, nature-based learning can help to foster a sense of environment literacy and responsibility in students. So by connecting math and science concept to the nature world, student can get a deeper appreciation for the importance of preserving and protecting the environment, and can be inspired to take action to the address environmental issue in their communities and beyond. So overall, we can say that the math and science are inherently connected to the natural world, and nature-based learning can provide rich opportunity for teaching and learning in these subjects. By integrating math and science concept with the study of the environment, we can help the students to better understand and appreciate the complexity of the natural world, and to develop a sense of responsibility towards the environment. So that's all for the science and math and science as well. And let me get started off with the connection to the unit reading and the resources. So my engagement with the place and reflection on my personal experience of learning connect to the unit and unit reading and the resources in the several ways. So the concept of place as a pedagogical contact zone is discussed by the strangers, who argues that learning can occur through the interaction between the different elements in a given space. So in my engagement with the natural world, I'm interacting with more than human elements of the environment and learning about their complexity and the interconnection. So sitting in a nature park can provide an opportunity to connect with the unit readings and resource in a tangible way. So by engaging in nature-based learning experience such as the observing the flora and fauna in the park, reflecting on the natural element and their connection to human culture, and exploring the park on one's own turn, we can begin to develop a deeper understanding of the concept and ideas discussed in the units as well. So for instance, while I'm sitting in a park, we can reflect on the many elements of the natural world around us and how they are interconnected. So we can observe the ways in which the plants and animal and geological feature interact with one other and consider how these interactions reflect broader ecological and environmental system. This can help us to develop a sense of ecological literacy and to understand the importance of the steward and sustainability in our interaction with the natural world. Additionally, while talking about that, we can consider our own experience in the park connect to border the cultural and social contents. We might reflect on the historical significance of the park, or on the cultural practice and the beliefs associated with the natural elements presented in the park. We might also consider the ways in which our experience in the park related to the wider social concerns such as the climate change, environmental justice, or the urban planning. Throughout these types of experience, we can begin to develop a sense of connection to the environment and to see the ways in which nature-based learning can contribute to the broader social and cultural goals. So by promoting a sense of agency and autonomy in our learning experiences, and by building connections between our experiences in nature and our wilder living and communities, we can begin to develop a deeper understanding of the environment and understanding of the importance of the nature-based learning in child development and in society as a whole. So the idea of the play-based learning is also relevant to my engagement with the place. According to the what plays an important aspect of the children learning and can help them to develop a sense of agency and connections to their environment. Similarly, my engagement with the natural world involved a sense of play and the curiosity as I explored the environment and observed the more than the human elements. So finally, the concept of the ecological literacy is relevant to my reflection on my personal experience and learning. According to the OR, ecological literacy involves an understanding of the interconnection between the human and the environments and the ability to make decisions that promote sustainability. My engagement with this place and A reflection on my personal experience of learning have helped me to develop the ecological literacy and a sense of responsibility towards the more than the human elements of the environment. So that's all for today, and concluding that my engagement with the place and reflection on my personal experience of learning mathematics and science have helped me to develop a deeper understanding of the interconnection with the natural world. Through my interaction with the more than the human elements of the environment, I have developed a sense of agency and connections to the environment, which has helped me to appreciate its complexity and the beauty. So, my engagement with place can be seen as a pedagogical contact zone, while learning occurs through the interaction between the different elements. The concept of play based learning and ecological literacy are also relevant to my reflections on my personal experience of learning and engagement with the place. Thank you all for today.